Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for joining Augstsprieguma tīkls, also called AST Investor Webinar. We will start with company's presentation and continue with a live Q&A session. To join the discussion, please submit your questions through the Q&A window below the presentation. This session is being recorded and will be available for rewatch shortly after the call. Let me now introduce you to our hosts, Rolands Tīkls, the chairman of the board, and Gatis Junhans, member of the board. Gentlemen will now take it from here.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to AST webinar for investors. So we will introduce you with our last year's results, achievements, financial results, and our future plans. And today, speakers for this webinar will be myself, Rolands Tīkls. I'm chairman of the management board of AST, and Gatis Junhans, a member of the board. So regarding so first of all, we will go through, we will go through AST Group, about our company itself. So from last year, we are owned by the Ministry of Climate and Energy of Republic of Latvia. Probably you remember that before that, until 2023, we were all owned by Ministry of the Finance. So last year, the new ministry was established in Latvia, and also our shares were transferred to this Ministry of Climate and Energy. So we are a regulated company. So we are regulated according to rules of Public Utilities Commission of Latvia. And according to these rules, we have a regulated weighted average cost of capital, which currently is 2.72%. We can expect that in the future this could rise as well, because we know that currently the interest rates are rising, and in this formula of WACC, regulated WACC, the interest rates play a significant role. Also, our regulated asset base, which is base where the WACC is calculated and our profit is generated, is 432.7 million euros. We have a long-term credit rating from Standard & Poor's, so A-1, which last year were improved from A- stable to A- positive. We also have award of sustainability index. Last year it was the gold status. We also have emission of green bonds in amount of 100 million euros. This was emitted in 2021, and they have maturity until 2027, Q1. In total, AST has transmission lines 5,555 kilometers long, 141 substations, and last year the transmitted electricity to the users were 6,024 gigawatt hours. We are also shareholders in Baltic RCC, Baltic Regional Coordination Center, where we are owners of 1/3, and the other owners here is Lithuanian and Estonian transmission system operators. And we are also the majority shareholder in Connexus Baltic Grid, where we own 68.46% of the shares. And Connexus Baltic Grid also has very good credit rating from Standard & Poor's, BBB+. And the main business of Connexus Baltic Grid is gas transmission and gas storage. And last year there was so the capacity of storage is 2.3 billion cubic meters, and gas transmission system length is 1,190 kilometers. And last year, through this transmission system was transmitted natural gas in the volume of 29.1 terawatt hour. So our main priorities in the last year are coming out from our midterm strategy. Our midterm strategy period is from 2021 to 2025. So this is coming to an end already. And in the last year, so our main priorities were based on these strategy goals. And the main strategy goals are safe electricity grid operations, which includes synchronization with continental Europe, readiness to emergencies, and cybersecurity. These are even more important topics after Russian invasion in Ukraine. Our main priorities also is green transformation, so to ensure capacity for renewable generation, connections to our grid, including onshore and offshore wind parks, and we also invest in our infrastructure in green solutions, for example, green substations. Digital transformation is, of course, also one of our main topics in our strategy and our every year's goals. We believe that digital transformation can improve our efficiency, ensure better security for our services, better quality. So we work on different directions. So this includes also the change management inside the company, process improvements, operations, IT integration, and so on. And finally, our great value is our employees, and we can deliver good results through our employees and their engagement and development. So in our strategy, also skills and experience in change environment, digital proficiency, those are the main focuses. How we improve our employee engagement and their skills and ability to provide the best and highest quality service. So our main achievements from the last year is here in the next this slide and next slide. So the biggest change last year was related to the synchronization. So if in the initial plans there was the synchronization will happen at the end of 2025 or beginning of 2026, then last year there were common decision among 3 Baltic states to go forward faster and to have its synchronization with continental Europe already in February 2025, so almost 1 year earlier than it was initially planned. This is due to the fact that the security issues after Russian invasion in Ukraine is more significant. So to be connected with Russian and Belarusian networks and to be somehow a little bit dependent from them regarding the balancing of our network is not considered as a safe solution. So therefore we are looking how to move faster and to synchronize this continental Europe almost 1 year sooner than it was planned before. And then there is a lot of infrastructure projects and IT projects related to synchronization. And here on this slide, you can see some of them. So one is Valmiera Tartu transmission line, which is part of synchronization project. So this transmission line was completed last year and it's already in operations. Then reconstruction of Valmiera-Cirgulina interconnection was started last year. Currently, it's already coming to an end on Latvian side, so we will complete it and this will be operational already at the end of this month or beginning of next month. And then there is also Estonian part should be finalized until autumn. And then also a very important project is construction of high power synchronous machine or compensator stations. And the first this type of synchronous compensator was already started built it already last year. And the machine itself will come to Latvia also in the coming weeks. So in May it will be already here. And we plan that the first synchronous condensator will be completed and operational at the end of this year. The others will be, 2 others will be in place and operational during next year. So, and then also development of Baltic balancing market and integration with the EU. And here will be additional slides also from my colleague Gatis later in the presentation. We also last year got approval from a regulator on our system development plan for the next 10-year period. And for Connexus Baltic Grid, there were several important projects. The most important LE project, so Latvian-Lithuanian gas interconnection upgrade, so increased capacities, transmission capacities between Latvian and Lithuanian gas transmission operators. which is very important these days when we don't import any gas from Russia. So all the gas which is imported is through LNG terminals or GIPL pipeline between Lithuania and Poland. And therefore, our internal interconnections between Baltic states is very important. So this upgrade is very important for our market and our security of supply. And also other investment projects for Connexus Baltic Grid to improve operations and to reconstruct the current network and infrastructure. Other important accomplishments last year was approval of electricity transmission tariff, which came into force from July. This was very important decision because we started the year last year with the tariff which didn't cover fully the cost of the service. This was due to the fact that the electricity prices was much higher than the costs which were included, the losses of electricity which were included in the tariff, which was enforced in that time. So this was a very important decision. So to ensures that our tariff corresponds to the actual cost of the service. Then last year also we signed a contract for synchronization phase 2. We got additional EU financing from Connecting Europe facilities and Repower structural funds. And also last year we worked on modernization of electricity transmission network, which also was co-financed under recovery resilience facility. Then on sustainability, our accomplishments was we started the green substation project, and procured green equipment. In this regard, then we worked on production of renewable electricity. So we started, we ensured that technical requirements are given to new connections to transmission system. And this year we already see a lot of projects starting and in construction phase. And Connexus Baltic Grid started to create common position for the integration of biogas and hydrogen in transmission network. And also Connexus Baltic Grid carried out modernization of gas pumping and storage infrastructure. Other facts regarding our services, first about the electricity. So transmitted electricity by our company last year was just about 6,000 gigawatt hours. And as you can see, this volume is quite stable, a little bit reducing starting from 2021. But currently the reduction mainly we can link to the fact that there is a lot of development on micro generation or the generation, solar generation connected to distribution system. And this is generation which doesn't go through Latvian transmission system. So it can be even behind the meter of distribution system operator, or it doesn't reach the transmission system because it is produced and consumed in distribution system level. So we cannot say that totally the consumption in Latvia is going down, but some of this consumption stays behind the meter. And what is also important fact, the electricity generated in Latvia by its type reached the highest amount, highest volumes produced from renewables in 2023. So 78% of total electricity which were produced in Latvia were produced from renewable energy sources, and just 22% from fossil energy sources. And then regarding the numbers on natural gas, so as you can see, the transported gas volumes reduced significantly after 2021, and also gas consumption in Latvia reduced significantly after 2021, which is of course related with shifts in whole Europe after Russian invasion in Ukraine. But what is important in this slide, you can see that the transported volumes of the gas are much more higher than the consumption of Latvia, which means that we are transit country. A lot of gas goes in and through Latvia and then back to other countries. And this is also partly ensured by our Inčukalns gas storage. So other countries are using our Inčukalns gas storage, so they pump the gas mainly during the summer and take out during the winter. And so the volumes of transported gas are much more higher than the gas consumption in Latvia itself. And you can see also here results of underground gas storage. It's last year we reached quite record if you look on the last 5 years. So it was total stored gas in 2023 was 17.9 terawatt hours. So the highest levels since at least 2019. So these are also quite good news. So our natural gas infrastructure is still demanded even in the times when in general consumption of natural gas is decreasing. So I will go further with group financial highlights, and we also see a few questions, but then we will give answers to those questions at the end of the presentations. So AST and group key financial figures, as you can see, the revenue reduced last year quite significantly, but this was mainly due to the fact that electricity prices were going down. So if you compare electricity prices between 2022 and 2023, those prices significantly reduced, and therefore also our revenue reduced. But this was EBITDA natural reductions because our expenses in this regard also reduced. And if you see on EBITDA numbers, those are very stable. They almost didn't change from 2022 and 2023. Also, our profit was very stable last year, and so for AST, it was slightly higher even than 2022, 11.12 million euros. And regarding the group numbers, so for group numbers, the EBITDA was even better, which was related to better income regarding the gas storage so gas storage services. But the profit after tax for the Connections Baltic Grid was lower. So group's profit decreased from to 10.2 million euros versus 16.2 million euros a year ago. And this was due to the fact of revised asset fair value. So there was additional impairment charge of 23.5 million euros recognized in depreciation and amortization. Regarding our capital structure, so here you can see that the assets, there was high increase in the asset value from 2019 to 2020, which was related to the fact that all assets related to electricity transmission was given to AST as a company. We were not leasing anymore this as it was before, so we become an owner of these assets. Then we have slightly increased starting from 2020, which is related to our infrastructure projects, which we are completing during these years. Our equity is also quite stable, both on a AST level and group level, and the same goes for borrowings in million euros. You can see here AST this 100 million green bonds, and also borrowings for the group. Additionally for Connections Baltic Grid are pretty stable, a little bit reducing over time. And our capital structure is also in a good shape. So there's equity for the group 47% and for AST 44%. Other key financial indicators per segment. Already what I mentioned before, revenues were reduced last year for electricity transmission, but this was due to the fact of reduced electricity prices on the market. Revenues for gas transmission was quite stable last year, but the revenues for the gas storage increased significantly during the last year, which was related to the fact that there was high demand for gas storage, and through the auction mechanism, they got higher revenues and better prices for the company. And if you see from indicators by the segment, so the revenues for electricity transmission, what was the reductions and other financials. What is important to mention here as well is, so last year, to ensure our coverage of our costs, there was also approval from the regulator to use congestion income in the total amount of 14.1 million euro. So this was used to cover the costs associated with provision of electricity transmission grid services. And this also ensured that last year we can finalize the year with 5.5 million euros profit if we compare with the year before, where it was 4.4 million euros. And for gas transmission segment, the profit decreased to 1.5 million euros versus 2.6 million euros. But for gas storage segment, profit decreased to 4.9 million euros from 11.1 million euros, but this was due to the fact that the revaluation of the assets. So the main capital investments by the sector, you can see is that for electricity transmission, there was quite higher investments in electricity transmission, so 53.1 million euro if you compare to year before when it was 31.5 million euro. And the main projects was related to synchronization projects. Also already mentioned this line between Malmera and Tartu, which was completed and put in operation. Other synchronization equipment, so completed procurement for purchase also for the batteries, where we signed the agreement in February this year. And there was also substation and construction projects, so 19 projects with total amount of 8 million euro. Also, there was increase in investments in gas transmission and storage. So there was this already mentioned project between Latvia and Lithuania, ELI project, which were completed last year, and other gas infrastructure maintenance projects. And for the gas storage segment, there was investments in underground storage modernization projects and existing compressor and gas pumping modernization. Regarding the future investments, we are currently in the stage when we invest a lot due to the synchronization projects. So we have 2 phases of the projects, and total investments forecasted for these phases are 238.7 million euros, which includes construction of existing Estonian-Latvian interconnections, construction of 3 synchronous compensators in Ventspils, Globiņa, and Līgsna, frequency regulation equipment, which includes a battery energy storage system, and additional equipment for technical requirements set by NSOE. So we plan to finalize all these projects in 2025. And after this, currently there is planned mainly how to maintain the system. So all other investments starting from 2026 are mainly planned for the maintaining the existing system, to renew and reconstruct existing system. But of course, this also can change during the time, and some other big infrastructure projects come into place. For example, the Elvin project, where we currently work together with Estonian transmission system operator, and plan how this can look for the future. So this is current estimation, what we can with certainty predict for the next 10 years. And finally, financial ratios and borrowing. Already mentioned AST borrowings, which is green bonds, 100 million euros with maturity until 2027. Our net borrowings for the AST currently is 68.4 million euros. For the group, it's 135 million euros. Equity, which is mentioned before as well, is for AST is 44%, and for the group 47%. Net borrowings versus EBITDA is 1.8, for the group 1.5. Total liquidity 1.6, and for the group 1.3. Fixed rate borrowings, so 100% for AST and 71% for group. And all financial conditions, including the commitment agreements, are fulfilled, and available credit line is to ensure the liquidity. So we have these overdrafts or credit lines, but currently not for the AST and not also for the Connexus. These overdrafts are used. So that was mainly for our financial numbers for the AST and for the company group. And now I go forward to Gatis. So Gatis will continue with other development plans in more detail.
Yeah, I will tell you about most important development activities in electricity field. The two main development activities is synchronization project and renewable generation development. Synchronization project, as Roland's mentioned before, is close to finalizing it, and we will synchronize with the power system of continental Europe in February next year. And this will bring increased security of supply and also quality of our service. In parallel, there is another mega trend. Changes in generation portfolio is also creating us a different development streams. Increase in the renewable generation activity is now only starting, and we see that this will be a busy area in coming years. In order to serve and to cope with both mentioned developments, we also work on development of design of electricity and balancing markets. This is necessary from one side to improve the management of power system, and from other side it is also necessary to improve possibilities and remuneration opportunities for market participants, so that investments are facilitated in our industry. We also are working on long-term design of electricity transmission system. Recently, we also published a study about future electricity demand developments, which indicated that there is a potential and possibility for demand to double in by 2035, and also a rapid increase in the renewable generation together with increasing demand means that also electricity grid needs to develop. So our long-term design is largely aimed at developing future grid offshore in the Baltic Sea and interconnecting it with neighboring regions but also increasing and strengthening interconnection capacities onshore. And the digital transformation program is also important part of it to enable the previously mentioned changes in the power system. Also in gas field, there are important developments. One of the important developments is with Inčukalns underground gas storage, which is the biggest underground gas storage in the Baltic region and serves the whole region, including Finland and also Poland. And here the upgrade is aimed at increasing the withdrawal capacity also in a period after winter season when there is a smaller gas reserve underground storage, so that we can provide bigger withdrawal capacities throughout the year. Another area is biomethane injection points and guarantees of origin. The goal here is to facilitate biomethane industry in Latvia, and since the biomethane production sites are rather small and distributed in Latvia, the concept is to create centralized injection points, and we will pilot first injection point by end of this year, which will be able to serve around 20 biomethane producers. And from this experience, from first injection point, we will also look into 4 or 5 other locations. Another important area is hydrogen, as it is one of the key tools to implement climate policies in Europe. And also Connexus Baltic Grid is involved in a 6 transmission grid operator common project, where the idea is to build hydrogen corridor from Finland to Germany. At the moment, the project is in pre-feasibility study, which will end in the middle of this year, and then decisions will be taken further depending on the results of pre-feasibility study. Yeah, synchronization project. One of the key elements here is to build the capacity for power system operators to manage stable frequency at all conditions in the Baltic region without Russian power system, and also without synchronous connection with continental Europe in case such conditions occur in the future. In parallel to synchronization project, as we mentioned before, there is a rapid increase in renewable generation. Roland's also mentions that we have a record high renewable proportion in production last year. Here you can see on a slide a short-term forecast. So this yellow part in the graph represents wind and solar installed generation capacity. So in the next 12 months or so, additional 1,500 megawatts of wind and solar capacity will be added in the Baltic region. And there are many projects in the pipeline, so this trend will continue. As a result of synchronization project and increased renewable generation, Baltic transmission system operators also will require more balancing resources. And here on the slide, you can see the forecast of balancing reserve needs in the coming years. In the beginning of 2025, the amount of necessary balancing reserves will approximately double compared to what is maintained today. And then in the years to come, also due to increased renewable generation, the amount of necessary balancing reserves will continue to rise. In order to ensure safe and sufficient procurement of these balancing reserve capacities, AST has published and is implementing balancing reserve markets. Here on a slide, you can see a balancing market development roadmap, but you can see a more detailed description of development roadmap on our website. But mainly we will introduce balancing energy market platforms, which will be integrated with European balancing energy exchange platforms. We will introduce this by end of this year. In addition, we will also introduce balancing reserve capacity auctions, where balancing resource owners will be able to offer and sell transmission system operators their balancing resource capabilities. In addition to balancing market developments, we are also changing the design in electricity market. We are increasing the resolution of electricity market, changing from 60-minute trading to 15-minute trading. And these changes will be implemented gradually starting from this year, June, and then final implementations will be done in beginning of next year. In addition, we will also launch new intraday auctions, 3 additional auctions, which will be implemented since middle of this year, which will give additional tools, additional opportunities for market players and producers to better optimize and sell their produced electricity and to the market. We are for some time also experiencing increased interest for renewable generation capacity developments. Here on the screen you can see the reserved connection capacities so far, which exceed 6,000 megawatts, mainly solar generation, but also wind and hybrid projects. Currently, we have concluded 6 connection projects, and there is more than 20 developers who intend to sign agreements by the end of this year with AST. Next year, this year there will not be projects that will be commissioned yet, but next year those who have concluded agreements altogether will bring more than 400 megawatts of renewable generation capacity connected to transmission grid. In parallel, since there is all available transmission capacity reserved for producers already, but at the same time we are still getting more interest to connect additional resources. AST together with policy provider, responsible ministry, we are working on a concept on a so-called limitable capacities, which will be introduced in the legislation during summer, and this will bring additional opportunities for almost 4,000 megawatts of generation capacity to receive grid connection reservations. Yes, I will stop here. Thank you.
So now it's questions and answers, and I see a few questions already submitted, and the first question is, what changes has the new management board composition brought to the company? So the good news is that finally AST for this year have a full management board, 5 members. Last year, most of the year, part of the year it was 4 members only, and even part of the year even only 3 members. So yes, so therefore I think it's good that finally we have a full composition of management board, which means that we can better cover all important topics of the company. So all the directions where we work, the maintenance, the system management, the development, IT, legal, and compliance, and overall financial management as well. So I think now it's a good composition to cover all the most important directions and activities of the company. So it's good for the company and less overwork from the management board side, I think. But maybe Gatis want to add something to this.
No, you commented well.
Okay. Then, according to provided information, 75% of the funding needed for synchronization projects will be provided by the EU. How will you attract the rest 25% of the funding? I think here it's very important also to mention that one thing is 75% for the synchronization is provided by EU, but also a big part of the synchronization project we finance from this congestion management income. So this is also the funding which is available and don't go into the tariff calculation, so not go into the depreciation, which ensures that we can keep our tariff on very competitive level. So in the fact, from total synchronization project costs around 14-15% only are our own finances, our equity, and this we can finance by partly from our profits or from borrowings like green bonds, for example. So therefore we are good. We covered this finances in a very good way. I don't know, do you have any other comments here?
No, covered it well.
So, and then do you expect the proportion of the renewable generated electricity will further increase, or it has reached its peak? I think Gatis already answered to this question in his presentation. So you saw that how many projects there is and in pipeline currently. So many of them currently are in projection. So they're making projects currently. But there is already projects which are developing and really are constructed already. So we can see that actually almost 100% probably in the future could be, if those projects are completed, could be produced from renewables. And fossil fuels in the long run probably will stay only as backup production in the cases, in the times when there is really a lack of renewable energy production at specific moments. For example, this could be like a very cold winter day with no wind, and during winter in our region we don't have a lot of sun as well, and therefore this could be, there is high demand, and therefore for example for these type of events we need some dispatchable energy, controllable energy sources, which we can then switch on and compensate these periods. But in general, I think there is a lot of potential to produce almost all energy here in Latvia and in Baltics from renewables, and fossil energy sources can be used only as a backup for those days when it's really not available.
Thank you. There are 2 more questions that we have received prior to the call, so let's address those. What are the plans for the various softwares for AST in near future, like ETRM, AS4, algo trading, optimization?
Maybe Gatis can take this one.
Yeah, we are currently in a course of implementing several large-scale IT projects, including balance management system, load frequency controller, also integrating with pan-European balancing platforms. As regards future potential projects, there are two that I would mention. One is outage planning IT tool. Currently, we are writing a technical specification of this tool, and next year we plan to launch procurement of the IT system. And the second area is congestion management tool. As Rolands mentioned, due to increased renewable generation, there are expected situations in the grid when local interconnections or substation capacities can be overloaded. So transmission system operators will need to continuously monitor and manage those congestions, and for that we are currently working on a concept of such system, and after that we will also seek for procurement of such solution.
Thank you. And the last question, are there any sustainable cooperation projects with SME startups that could bring added value in the short to midterm period?
I think currently we don't have this type of project with the startups, but I think we can consider this type of cooperation as well. And so if there is some startups out there who would like to cooperate with us, you are welcome to contact us, and we'll see how we can make common interesting solutions.
Yeah, I can add that we have so far, with regards to artificial intelligence, we have identified at the moment areas which seem to us interesting. And there are three areas. One is forecasting, short-term forecasting of demand and generation. And we are currently cooperating with Riga Technical University on possible directions of how to apply different techniques where artificial intelligence solutions also are considered. Another area is image recognition. We have digital scans of our grid, and in the future we have identified the need for solutions based on artificial intelligence, which could help us to identify potential damaged infrastructure. And third area where we have started to look into is large language models, which could help us and our teams, our employees, to work with large documentation and to work with it more efficiently.
Thank you. All questions are now answered. The recording of the webinar will soon be available online. Therefore, please follow AST announcements to stay up to date with company's news. Participants, thank you for joining the call today.
Thank you.